If you've spent the last few evenings scrolling through endless lists of four-post lifts, wondering whether you should splurge on a pro model or settle for a budget-friendly unit, you're not alone. The anxiety of committing a few $1,000s to a piece of equipment that you'll only use a handful of times a month can make the decision feel like a gamble. I've been in that exact spot, comparing capacity, height, hydraulic power, and most importantly, the real-world reliability that you won't see in the glossy marketing copy. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. What I found while digging through forums, watching other shop owners' YouTube setups, and reading the sparse but honest comments on the listing is that the KT4H110 from Modal Technology sits in an interesting sweet spot. It's not the cheapest entry-level lift you can find, but it also isn't the ultra-premium model that comes with a built-in diagnostic screen. For a shop that does a mix of daily maintenance and occasional heavier jobs, think a weekend hobbyist who also does a few trucks a month, it could be the most logical compromise. Let's start with the core question. Who actually needs an 11,000-pound capacity four-post lift? If your garage mainly houses compact cars, a two-post, or even a portable hydraulic jack could handle most of the work. But once you start pulling in SUVs, light trucks, or even a full-size pickup for a quick tire change, you quickly run out of headroom both literally and figuratively. The KT4H110's 84.5-inch maximum height gives you enough clearance to work under most modern vehicles, even those with higher ride heights. That height, paired with the 11,000-pound rating, means you can safely lift a 2022 Ford F-150 or a Chevy Silverado without second-guessing the load limit. In short, if you regularly see trucks or heavier SUVs rolling into your shop, this lift makes sense. Now, if you're a pure car garage that never sees anything above a mid-size sedan, you'll likely be overpaying for capacity you'll never tap. The extra hydraulic power, 3.0 HP in this case, doesn't hurt, but it does add a bit to the purchase price and the overall weight of the unit. In a cramped garage, that weight can become a logistical headache when you need to reposition the lift for a different project. Speaking of logistics, one of the practical strengths that keeps popping up in the few user photos I found is the dual safety lock system. Unlike some cheaper lifts that rely on a single latch, the KT4H110 gives you two independent locks that engage once the platform reaches the set height. In real life, that translates to peace of mind when you're working underneath a lifted vehicle for an extended period, say you're swapping out a transmission or doing a full suspension overhaul. You won't have that uneasy feeling of what if the lock fails, because the design forces redundancy. The hydraulic system itself is another area where the lift earns its keep. It's a 3.0 HP pump that can lift the full 11,000 pounds load in roughly 30 seconds, according to the manufacturer's own demonstration videos. In a busy shop, those seconds add up. I've seen smaller lifts that crawl up to 6,000 pounds and stall, forcing you to wait for the hydraulic fluid to settle. With this model, the lift feels responsive, which keeps workflow smooth when you have multiple vehicles queued for service. But no product is without trade-offs, and the KT4H110 does have a few that deserve attention before you click Add to Cart. First, the lift's footprint is sizable. The four posts sit on a base that's roughly 10 by 8 feet. If you're operating out of a garage that's barely 12 by 12, you'll have to sacrifice a lot of floor space, potentially pushing storage racks or tools out of the way. That's a common compromise with any four-post design, but it's more pronounced here because the unit doesn't fold down for compact storage. The manufacturer does advertise optional transport wheels, but they're primarily for moving the lift between bays, not for stowing it away. Second, the control panel is functional but bare bones. There's a simple up/down lever, a couple of indicator lights, and the safety lock switches. If you were hoping for a digital readout that shows exact height or load weight, you won't find that here. For most mechanics, a visual cue isn't essential, but if you run a shop that needs precise repeatability, say, for aligning chassis components, this might feel limiting. Third, while the lift does come with upgrade options like additional hydraulic boosters or extended post height kits, those add-ons are sold separately. If you anticipate needing more height in the future, you'll need to budget for those extra parts. The base model's 84.5-inch height is generous for most passenger vehicles, but a full-size truck with massive tires could still scrape the ground if you're not careful. Let's talk about value beyond the headline numbers. The real money saver with this lift is the combination of capacity and safety. When you're lifting,